Most people look at real estate and think the money comes from one simple thing: buying a property and selling it later for more. And sure, that can work, but that is only one piece of the puzzle. Real estate can actually create money in several different ways, and some of them happen quietly while you simply own the property. Once you understand these income streams, real estate starts to look very different. The first and most obvious way is appreciation. This simply means the property becomes more valuable over time. Maybe the neighborhood becomes more popular, new businesses move in, roads improve, or demand for homes increases. If you bought a property for $200,000 and it later becomes worth $250,000, you have gained $50,000 in value on paper. You may not have done anything dramatic to earn that increase, but appreciation is not guaranteed, and that is an important detail people sometimes forget. Property values can rise, stay flat, or even fall. The location matters, the economy matters, and the condition of the property matters. So experienced investors usually do not depend on appreciation alone. They look for properties that can produce income today, while also having the potential to become more valuable in the future. That brings us to one of the biggest ways real estate makes money: rent. If you own a rental property, tenants pay you for the right to live in or use that property. Imagine a property bringing in $2,000 a month in rent. That sounds great, but the entire $2,000 is not your profit. You still have expenses like taxes, insurance, repairs, management, and possibly a mortgage. What remains after those costs is where the real cash flow begins. Cash flow is basically the money left over after the property's regular expenses are paid. If a rental collects $2,000 and costs $1,500 to operate and finance, you might have $500 left. That amount can be saved, reinvested, or used for other goals. And this is one reason investors like rental properties. Instead of waiting years to make money, the property can potentially pay them month after month. Now here is where real estate gets especially interesting. You do not always need to buy a property entirely with your own money. Many investors use financing, such as a mortgage, to control an asset that is worth much more than the cash they put down. The tenant's rent can then help cover the mortgage payment. In simple terms, the property may be producing income while someone else's payments help reduce the debt attached to it. As the mortgage balance goes down, another form of wealth is being created: equity. Equity is basically the portion of the property you truly own. If your property is worth $300,000 and you owe the bank $220,000, your equity is roughly $80,000 before selling costs and other adjustments. Every time the principal balance falls, your ownership stake can increase, even if the property's market value has not changed. So a rental property can potentially build wealth in several directions at once. You might collect monthly cash flow, the tenant may help pay down your mortgage, and the property could appreciate over time. That combination is what makes real estate different from simply putting money into an asset and hoping the price goes up. The income and wealth-building mechanisms can work together, although none of them are guaranteed. There's a simple way to picture all of this. Imagine buying a property as buying a machine that can produce several kinds of financial results. Rent can create cash flow, mortgage payments can build equity, improvements can increase value, and market growth can create appreciation. The machine still needs maintenance and can break down, but when the numbers work, several wealth-building effects can happen at the same time. There's also another way investors increase a property's value, and this one is surprisingly powerful. Instead of waiting for the market to decide what the property is worth, they improve the property itself. A renovation, better management, higher occupancy, or stronger marketing can sometimes increase the income the property produces. And for many income-producing properties, higher income can lead directly to a higher valuation. This is especially important with commercial real estate. An apartment building, office building, retail center, or warehouse is often valued partly by looking at its income. If an investor can increase the property's net operating income, the property's value may rise as well. So the investor is not simply waiting for the neighborhood to improve. They are actively improving the business performance of the property. Think about it like owning a small business, because in some ways that is exactly what it becomes. A rental property is customers, operating expenses, maintenance, and revenue. If you can make the property more attractive, keep good tenants, reduce unnecessary expenses, and operate it efficiently, the numbers can improve. Real estate investors who understand this stop thinking only about buildings and start thinking about the income those buildings can produce. Another interesting source of returns is tax treatment. Real estate can have tax advantages that other investments may not offer in the same way. Depending on the country and the investor situation, certain expenses may be deductible, and depreciation may allow an owner to account for the gradual aging of a building. These rules can be complicated, though, so investors need to understand the local laws and usually work with a qualified tax professional. Depreciation is particularly interesting because it does not mean the property is literally losing cash every year. It is an accounting concept that recognizes that buildings wear out over time. Under applicable tax rules, an investor may be able to deduct part of the building's value over a period of years. That deduction can reduce taxable income, potentially leaving more cash available to the investor after taxes. Real estate can also create value through development and redevelopment. An investor might buy an empty lot, build something useful, and then sell or rent the finished property. Another investor might purchase an outdated building, renovate it, and turn it into something the market wants. In these situations, the investor is creating value rather than simply waiting for the market to increase the property's price. Then there is the strategy of buying properties that are poorly managed or underused. Maybe rents are below market rates, several units are empty, but the property has obvious maintenance problems. An investor who can solve those issues may be able to increase the property's income and value. Of course, this sounds easier than it really is. Repairs cost money, tenants can be unpredictable, and unexpected problems can quickly destroy a carefully planned budget. Real estate can also make money through short-term rentals, although this model works very differently from traditional long-term renting. A property might generate higher revenue by being rented for nights or weeks instead of months. But higher potential revenue often comes with higher operating costs, more management, cleaning, marketing, and changing demand. So the important question is not simply, how much can this property earn? It is, how much can it keep after everything is paid? Another thing investors sometimes overlook is inflation. When prices rise across the economy, rents and property values may rise over time as well, although the timing and amount can vary. If you have a fixed-rate mortgage, the payment may remain relatively stable while rents and other prices increase. This can potentially make the debt easier to manage in real terms. But inflation also raises repair, construction, insurance, and maintenance costs, so it is not automatically a free advantage. The biggest lesson here is that real estate is not one single investment strategy. Buying a house and selling it later is just one approach. You can focus on rental income, appreciation, renovations, development, commercial property, or a combination of several strategies. Each one has different risks, costs, time commitments, and potential returns. The best strategy depends heavily on the property, the market, the investor, and the numbers behind the deal. And this is why the purchase price alone can be misleading. Two properties can both cost $300,000 and have completely different financial results. One might generate strong rent with manageable expenses, while the other could constantly need repairs and produce little cash flow. Smart investors look beyond the sticker price. They study income, expenses, financing, taxes, vacancy, maintenance, and the property's potential before deciding whether the numbers actually make sense. Of course, real estate is not a magic money machine. Properties can sit vacant, tenants can stop paying, repairs can become expensive, interest rates can change, and markets can fall. Selling a property also involves transaction costs that can eat into profits. The people who make money consistently are usually not the ones chasing the biggest looking opportunity. They are the ones who understand the risks and make decisions based on realistic numbers. So when you ask, how does real estate actually make money? The answer is more interesting than simply buying low and selling high. Real estate can generate rent, build equity, benefit from appreciation, create value through improvements, and sometimes provide tax advantages. These different pieces can work together over years. That is why investors often think of real estate as a long-term wealth-building system rather than just a bet on property prices. In the end, the building itself is only part of the story. What really matters is what that building can produce, how efficiently it operates, how the financing is structured, and how its value changes over time. Once you start looking at real estate through those numbers, you stop seeing just houses, apartments, and buildings. You start seeing assets with different ways to generate returns. And that is where the real money-making potential begins.